so much for joining the webinar today. Today we're going to talk about the campaign feature in MassMailer. At a high level, this is what I'm going to cover in today's webinar. We'll take a look at how to create a MassMailer campaign and how to add campaign members, how to send emails to both leads and contacts at the same time, and use of lead and contact merge fields in the same template. And then a few additional features such as how to clone campaign, how to remove duplicate campaign members, and how to reset the campaign member status. Okay. Switch to Salesforce. Okay, so I'm gonna open another tab. I'll go to the marketing app. Or you could also search for campaign, and it's one and the same. So this is the campaign tab. So there are two ways you can actually create a campaign. You see this button, new button there. So if you click on this, this is actually going to create a Salesforce campaign. Okay, I want to be very precise here. So when you go to Campaigns tab, you would see new button, which will create a Salesforce campaign. But you still have to, if you go this approach, which I'm going to do it right now, I'll just show it to you the difference. So I'm going to go click new, and I'll go create a campaign. I'll call this as MM webinar demo 1. You don't have to fill any of these details. So I'm going to leave everything the way it is. So basically just create a campaign by giving the campaign name. The rest of the fields is all up to you, how your organization has been set up. So I'm just going to go save. What I did, I created a Salesforce campaign. This is option 1 for you. And then if you come to this particular action toolbar, there is a button called Set Member Status. What it does is it's actually going to set the campaign member status values that are enabled in MassMailer, which are more like click, open, unsubscribe, spam report, bounce, all those status values will come when you actually click on this button. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that button called Set Member Status. Now, that Salesforce campaign that you created has become MassMailer campaign. So that's option 1. That's one option that you could do. And I know that you do not see that particular campaign member status values. If you want them to show on this particular layout, you would have to go and edit your campaign layout. So I'm going to go to the Object Manager. I'm showing this because many people may not know about these features, so it's important to understand. So go to Page Layout, Campaign Layout, and then Related List. So there's something called Campaign Member Status. So I'm going to go drag and drop Campaign Member Status and save this. Say yes. And I'm going to refresh this screen. And you see this campaign member status, it just came. It has all these values: bounce, collect, deferred, delivered, dropped. These are all MassMailer related campaign member status values. By default, when you create a Salesforce campaign, these values are not set. That is the reason why you have to click this button called Set Member status. Then the Salesforce campaign becomes MassMailer campaign. And after which you can add campaign members from this particular option, or from a report, or from MassMailer list view. So there are various options that you can actually use to add campaign members. Okay. So now I'm going to show you another approach. So I'll just come here. Let me actually show you once again. Now you will see the clear difference. So I'm going to go click on this new. Again, I'm just going to go create Salesforce webinar demo 2. Just save it. You see the campaign member status values. This is Salesforce campaign, and it has these two default campaign member status values. So, which means it's still not MassMailer campaign. In order to make it a MassMailer campaign, you go here and then click on this set member status. Then the Salesforce campaign becomes MassMailer campaign, meaning it adds the campaign member status value. So that is option 1. That's one approach. You can create a campaign, Salesforce campaign, and make it as a MassMailer campaign. What is the second approach? The second approach is go to the campaign tab and then select any list view. It doesn't matter. You just select any list view. Then you would see this new MassMailer campaign button. That's a Salesforce feature. So this button does not show when you're actually in the recently viewed. By default, if you have pinned the recently viewed, then you do not see that new MassMailer campaign button. That is the reason why you had to go to any other list view other than the recently viewed. Then this new MassMailer campaign button appears. So if I go click on this button, it brings up a screen where you can give a campaign name. So I'm just going to go say MassMailer campaign for webinar, just a name. And then it's got 3 steps here. New MassMailer campaign, add campaign members, MassMailer outreach wizard. Yep. So I'm going to go to the next step. And here I have an option to add campaign members from lead object and the contact object, or the contact object. And the list views that we are showing here are MassMailer list view. So if you're familiar with MassMailer list views, these are custom list views that you create within MassMailer. And we let you add campaign members using MassMailer list view on the screen. But what are the other options? The other options are you can go back to the campaign details page by clicking on this close button, which I can do right now. And then you can add campaign members from there, or you can also add campaign members from a Salesforce report. Let's go take a look at all these 3 options here. And just to let you know, you can access this add campaign members page from the Salesforce campaign layout as well. I'll show it to you in a moment. So this is just to demonstrate how to add campaign members from here. So for example, you want to select the lead object, and then one or more, you can select one or more list views from there. And then you can click on this button called add campaign members, say okay. And that's going to take some time to add the campaign members though. And then other option, you go to contact, you can add the campaign members for the contact object. Again, these are MassMailer list views. You can select one or more list views and then say add campaign members. So this is one approach. In the upcoming release, we're going to add another way you can add campaign members, that is using the Salesforce list views as well on the same screen where you see here. So it's much more convenient. Now, you have an option to go to the MassMailer outreach wizard by clicking on this next step. I'm not going to click on this yet. I'll show it to you how to go to the outreach wizard from campaign. It's one and the same. Either you go click on this next button, provided you're done with adding campaign members, or if you still have to add more campaign members, or if you want to add it in a different manner, what you need to do is click on this button called Close, which will take you to the Salesforce campaign details page. You come back to the Salesforce campaign details page. You see the member status values are added automatically for you, which means right from the get-go, we created a MassMailer campaign already. And then if I scroll down, you will see the campaign members are also added because we added it from the Add Campaign Members page directly. And if I say View All, it's going to show you all the campaign members. Some of them are contact type, some of them are lead type. So that's what you have here. And if you want to add more leads or contacts, you can add it from this particular screen. For example, if you want to add leads, you can just select it from here. You can select any number of leads, and then you just say next. And then you select the member status. By default, new is the member status in MassMailer. But it is not necessary to use the same status value though, but we always recommend that you use the new status. But it's all up to you. If you have different member status values that you want to add, feel free to do that, but make sure that you, when you're filtering the records, you have to select that specific member status value. So just say submit, and you added one campaign member right now that is of type lead, which is this one. And similarly, if you want to add more contacts, you can add contacts again from here. It could be any other contact that is already not there. And then you just say submit. And it adds another contact. So this is one approach that you can actually add campaign members. And what is the third approach? Third approach is from a report. So if you already have a predefined report, it could be on leads or contacts, you can actually bring that particular report, and then you can add them. So I'm gonna just check if I have anything here in this particular report. It doesn't seem like it has any. So I can go ahead and create a brand new report here just for the sake of demo purposes. So I'll just say leads, and I would just say all leads. Apply. I can add a filter, maybe the first name being, and then let me run it. I'll just say sample report for webinar. You can select any folder. Again, I'm not selecting any specific folder, but feel free to select a different folder if you want to do that. That's fine too. And then save it. So I have a few leads here. So I can, if I want to add them to a specific campaign, I have this add to campaign button. I just click on this add to campaign, and I will have to select which campaign I want to add this lead. So I would just say campaign for webinar, and again, status value is new. You can keep the existing member status values, or you can update the existing member status value with the new. So those are the two options. I'm just going to go say keep and then submit. So this is basically adding leads to a campaign. And similarly, if you wanted to add contacts to a campaign, again, you would do the exact same thing. If you already have a report on contacts, you can select an existing contact report, or if you want to add, if you want to build a brand new contact report, that's fine. You could do that as well. So I'm gonna remove some filters here. And perhaps I would just add another filter. I would just call it as equals. I hope I have this contact. Let me just say apply. And then count report for webinar and save it. I have a few contacts with that email address. Again, the same approach. You go here and click on this add to campaign and select any campaign where you want to add these campaign members that are of type contact, and then just submit. So that's how you're going to add campaign members from the contact object. So we do have a way for you to add campaign members from another campaign. So that support, or rather that feature, is also developed, and it is coming in the next release, which you'll be able to select campaign members as well. So that's quite possible to do it. So now what we have done so far is we just created a MassMailer campaigns. I'm going to go back here. So this is the MassMailer campaign that we just created. And then we added campaign members. And then you can see the campaign members here. There are 7 of them. And I'm going to go click on this view all once again. And I know some of them may have duplicate email addresses, right? So I'm going to show you that feature right now before we do anything else. So basically, we still haven't sent an email. We just created a MassMailer campaign in Salesforce. Okay. So now, if you go back here to the action toolbar, you will see a few other options here: MassMailer clone, remove duplicate campaign members, reset, and then unscheduled job, and then add campaign members. So let me show you. So if you want to go back to that add campaign members page, you can actually click on this, which will actually take you to the same add campaign members, that is by MassMailer, where you can add campaign members from this page. So just want to let you know. So that's always available as an option for you. So let's just go. So right now I have 7 total campaign members here. Some of them may have duplicate email addresses. Let's just check. So if I go click on this remove duplicate campaign members, it is supposed to just remove any duplicate campaign members, and then it'll give you the unique ones. So you see that now the count is reduced to 4. So we follow a sequence on, if you have contacts with the same email address as lead, contact takes priority. If you don't have contacts, if you have just the leads with duplicate email addresses, we will keep the latest updated one and then remove the other ones. And same thing, if you have only the contacts with the duplicate email addresses, we basically just remove everything else and keep only the latest updated contacts. So that's the kind of logic that we follow behind the scenes. Okay, so that's about remove campaign members feature. So now that we are ready to actually send out email. So far we looked at remove duplicate campaign members. We looked at the set member status. We looked at the add campaign members, those 3. And then now if you want to send an email, so you could send an email by clicking on this send via MassMailer. So basically you click that, which will take you to the outreach wizard if you're familiar. So this is kind of sequence of steps that you go through. The campaign name gets created for you. We add the timestamp apart from the regular campaign name that you have. And then the target audience, by default, we select a new status. If you have any custom status, feel free to add it as well. And then you can select this so that you can filter those ones too. And then it shows up partial results for the campaign members. And then you go to the next step, where in which you're actually selecting an email template. In this particular webinar, I'm not going to go through the full-blown like email template creation. You can watch our previous webinar where I covered that. But assuming that you already have created an email template, I'm just going to go here and select email template that I actually created with the merge field. So I'll show you how to create the merge fields though. So it's going to load this into this template builder where you can see that I have some merge fields already here. The contact first name without space, I have lead first name. And I have campaign member dot campaign dot name, and then for this campaign member, so and the username. So this is kind of to show you how you can actually mix and match the merge fields, so you get the right result. So when you're using campaign, the kind of not the limitation, but the merge field that we support is from the contact, from the lead, from the campaign member. You can traverse through campaign, and then you can actually pick up from campaign member as well, and from the user too, right? So those are the kind of merge fields that we support overall in any campaign. So when you're sending out email from a campaign, right? If you want to select those merge fields, the option for you is coming out here. You can traverse through campaign member and select field, and then you can select any field from the campaign member, or you can go to the campaign and then select any field from the campaign itself, whatever campaign field that you may have, such as name, an example. So you select that and say done, and that displays the merge field campaign member, campaign name, right? And you can copy paste this particular value into your template. Okay. So I'm going to do this test. I know that I've actually created just contact.firstname, lead.firstname. Let's do a quick test how this is going to behave, right? There's another way to do it. You can go from campaign member dot contact dot first name or campaign member dot lead dot first name. Let's take a look at how this works. Yeah. So you need to make sure that you click on the save button, anything that you do, and then go to the next step here. If you don't have any files, you can skip the section. Again, sender options, I'm going to keep the default, the logged in user, and then keep going to the next step. So I'm not covering all these steps, all these things, like various options that you have in the sender options here in this particular demo. We have another webinar in the previous webinar, so I covered all of this. Today, I just want to focus on campaign, how to send emails. Go to the next step here, the delivery options. Again, I'm just going to send it now. I'm going to use non-transactional where I want to honor my unsubscribes. So I'm not selecting anything else there, and go to the next step. So here, again, I'm finally reviewing all my setups so far. And if everything looks good, I'm going to go finish it. You can always do a test though by clicking on this send test. Otherwise, you can just skip that and then click finish. And that should basically finish the campaign email. And everything gets stored, meaning any campaign that you executed is stored under this MassMailer outreach custom object, where again, it is related to the campaign that we just created. So you can see this link. And otherwise, rest of the information is similar to what you would do in the other scenarios where I can send emails to any object from Outreach Wizard directly without going through campaign option. It shows the recipient info, all the query and everything, and it's got statistic, delivery information, status information. All of that actually gets stored right here on this Outreach object. As I said, you can always go back to your campaign by clicking on this. That actually brings up the campaign member, the campaign status. You can see the campaign member status values are changing now. Some of them are delivered, some of them are processed. So you can see all of that right there. So all the status values for each one of them. So this is the email status value. But if you look at the campaign member status value, again, it also would get changed from new to the new status. So this one always picks up the very latest status. So it could be open, click, bounce, unsubscribe, whatever is the latest. That is what it's gonna update here. So I'm gonna go take a look at okay. So I have opened it. I've received 3 emails. I think there were only 3 of them that belong to me. So here it shows Dear Siva, and then it's got the MassMailer MassMailer campaign for webinar. And again, it shows the campaign member name, and this is the username. I know everywhere it says Siva, but please don't get confused. So I used the lead first name or the contact first name, and then this is the campaign name, and this is the campaign member name, and this is the username. And you can see that that gets populated here, whether it is lead or contact. We have the same result right there. So that's how you can mix and match the campaign fields and campaign member merge fields or leads and contact. So I can, if you want to kind of now map it with the template, I'm going to load up the template once again for you so that you can now understand very clearly what we've done. So it is campaign merge field test. So this is the template builder. So now you can see I had the campaign member first name without space lead first name. So behind the scenes, even if you have this without any space, you need to make sure that there's no space between these two. We're going to pick either one of them. So the moment we see contact and lead, when with they're kind of following, we only merge with only one of them. And you have the campaign name and the campaign member status, and then, campaign member first name and the username. So that's how it is. Let's go back to the campaign here. So now that we seen how to create a campaign and how to send emails, so the other options that we have here, if you ever wanted to reuse the same campaign, right, you can reset the campaign member status values. I mean, I'm going to do it now, but in real time scenario, it may be a historical campaign that you executed, not just today, it could be, some other day. The campaign is done, but you want to reuse the same campaign by setting up the campaign member status values. So this is kind of a handy tool where you can actually reset the campaign member status to new. So new or any other status. By default, we select new, but otherwise you have other options. So by default, I just send new, then reset campaign member status. It's actually going to reset this campaign member status values to new. So you can actually, reuse the same campaign member. So that's the feature. That's kind of a handy tool, right? So everything, the status is new, as you can see, right? And the other feature that we have here is if you want to actually clone this campaign, we have this button called MassMailer clone. So you click on this. There's a difference between the Salesforce clone and then MassMailer clone. So here we actually bring up a screen where you're actually cloning this campaign, and we ask you, okay, what status values you want to bring into the new campaign. So you will have an option here. So it's kind of a handy. So all you need to do is just change the campaign name. By default, we select new, and then you just say clone, and then it clones the campaign, and it creates a brand new campaign for you, right? So that's the kind of a feature, the clone feature, what we have. And then the other feature that is unscheduled jobs. So basically, if you have a scheduled job, meaning if you already scheduled an email, then if you want to just unschedule it, then you can actually click on it. Right now, I've not really scheduled anything. I already executed it. It'll give an error if I clicked on it. Otherwise, if you already scheduled it, or maybe the campaign is kind of in an execution mode, meaning it is running currently. It's still not finished. You will know the progress by checking the campaign, the outreach status. It shows in progress if it is still running. If you want to kind of stop that process, you can always come to the campaign and then click on this unscheduled job, and it is gonna unschedule it immediately. That's kind of an utility function that we have there. So this is pretty much what we have in campaign. And again, when it comes to reporting, I'll show it to you in a moment. Otherwise, the various functions that you have on campaign is MassMailer clone, remove duplicate campaign members, reset campaign member status, then we have MassMailer, and then set member status is initially if you choose to come from a Salesforce campaign new button, and then unscheduled job, and then add campaign members. So these are various buttons that we have. And if you ever wonder how do I really get this button, so I can show it to you in the campaign layout. Initially, when we get you onboarded with MassMailer, we would have added all those buttons from here. And then if you're using Lightning, you have those options again here that campaign members and all those options are available that can be added to your page layout. And the related list, in which we have two related lists that are related to MassMailer. That's the email status and the outreaches. So we added both of them. And then when it comes to the search layout, default layout, you would see the new campaign member button. That's how you add it, search layout. And if you're using Classic, the same thing. List view, you will see the same button called new MassMailer campaign button that is added when we get you onboarded. Otherwise, you can also add it yourself too. Okay. So once again, this is a campaign. The campaign member email status values are stored here, and the outreach, the related outreach is stored right here. And otherwise, the standard campaign members are shown right there. Okay. So that's how campaign looks. And looking at the reports, so the reports are the default reports that we have for you. Those are under MassMailer reports folder. And there are, I think, maybe MassMailer email status with campaign, and then MassMailer outreaches with campaign. There are two reports by default we have shifted, but otherwise you can always build your own reports. There's no problem. You can always customize these reports that we have as well. So the reports will have its own standard field. Okay, so let's see. What does this report say? Filters. Yeah, this may bring up too many records there. So basically, all it's doing is it's bringing up the Salesforce email status values. Those are related to our campaign. Again, so you can customize these reports. You can build your own reports if needed. Because all the objects that we have in Salesforce are just the native objects within Salesforce. I know it's gonna have too many records, so it may take a little bit time to load up. Once again, I'll just show you. So the two reports are shipped with MassMailer. One is so you go to all folders and you'll find MassMailer reports. The campaign, outreaches with campaign, and email status with campaign. So you can always build your own report, as I said. So this is outreaches with the campaign where we display the outreach and the campaign name and all the statistics of how many opens and clicks and delivered. All of them actually show right there. Okay, so that's pretty much what I want to cover today. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me here. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions if you want to speak up or put in the chat window.